Okay, so Bean was just outside doing her chicken song. And we heard that that means that they just laid an egg, and guess what? She's a green egg layer. Oh, how cute! Look how little. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope your day is going well. We have had a lot going on. There's been a lot of new, as you saw, Bean laid an egg, and it was so cute and so little. And shortly after that, it was like one chicken after the other. It very, very quickly has snowballed. We are now up to, on average, probably about 30 eggs a day. And we're kind of getting overrun with eggs right now. We've also had a few issues with our girls. Ella had really bad pasty butt. It was, I unfortunately didn't get any pictures or recordings of it prior to soaking her. But we did end up having to, we soaked her in an Epsom salt bath for, gosh, probably close to like 20 minutes. Just trying to get her poor butt cleaned. Once she was clean, it was actually pretty sad. She's walking around, as a wet chicken for a while. But she definitely looked so much better. We did have to do it a second time, probably about 3 weeks later, but it was nowhere near as bad, and we have not had any problems since. Next up was this girl. Husband found her in the coop on her side, and so he brought her in, examined her as best as he could. At first, we couldn't figure out what was wrong. He did check her vent and her chest and her belly. We were trying to figure out if she was egg bound or if she had a sour crop, but there was we couldn't feel anything physically. However, after we had set her down and she would go into like a panic mode to try to, fly away or whatever, we realized that her leg was injured. So we decided to keep her indoors for a few days and make sure that she had the best chance that she could get. She had refused to eat and drink for a day, not a full 24 hours, but a full day. And by the evening time, I had decided that if she didn't eat or drink, she just wasn't going to make it. So I had forced her to drink, and after dipping her beak into water a few times, she did all of a sudden act like, oh my gosh, I need this water. And so she just started drinking, and then I had put her back into her little makeshift pen and put the water in front of her, and then she did spend a lot of time drinking after that, and then she did eat. So after a few days, we thought that she was doing better. She wasn't limping or anything like that anymore, so we decided to put her back into the coop. The problem with that was that when you remove a chicken from their flock, after a few days you put them back, well, they have to reestablish the pecking order now. So immediately after putting her back in, there was fights breaking out. She had to try to prove herself all over again, which caused a lot of problems because she was no longer limping before we put her in, and then she got into a few fights and started limping all over again. So we decided that it was best that she stayed out of the coop for about 2 weeks almost. Then when we put her back out, with while everyone was free ranging, and she went right back. Everybody was cool. We didn't have any issues after that. So we have kept a good eye on her. It's been a few weeks since she's been in with them, and she does still have a small limp. I mean, we're at this point, we're pretty sure that it's going to be a permanent thing. But aside from that, she doesn't have any issues. There's been no fightings. She hasn't been lying on her side or hurting or anything like that. It's almost like one leg is too short, than the other. So she seems to be doing fine for now. Next up, we found this lavender that had poop caked on her feathers. It wasn't actually covering her vent, but it was pretty thick and heavy on her feathers, pulling them down. So we decided to go ahead and get her cleaned up. Again, we went in with the Epsom salt bath, and we soaked her for about 20 minutes or so until all the poop came off. And then we did notice that she had a small like nick or something where maybe a feather used to be, like it was plucked out or something. So we went ahead and after we cleaned and washed her, we sprayed her with some Vetericyn Plus just to make sure that it didn't get infected or anything like that. And then we went ahead and put her back out with the other girls and haven't had an issue with her since. So in between all of this, husband and I had been discussing getting goats. It's something that he had been really wanting. They're like his favorite animal. He thinks they're absolutely adorable. The problem with goats is that they cause a lot of havoc and a lot of chaos, and we already have enough of that on our property on a day-to-day basis. So after doing a ton of research, we decided that goats just weren't for us right now at this time. Now we did want them for meat and for their milk, and so we started doing some research to find out what's going to be the next best thing. And we decided to look into sheep. And it turns out that like sheep's milk is super healthy for you. It's way better than goat's milk, obviously way better than cow's milk. And you can do everything with the sheep's milk that you can do with the cow's milk and with the goat's milk. So we started really looking into the sheep. One of the elders at our church has sheep, and so he offered to give us a breeding pair as a gift. And so we were really excited. We had picked out a set that we want. It was so cool. He gave us a complete breakdown of each sheep that he has and which mate they would go with. So if we wanted, this ram, then we have the option of this ewe and this ewe. Anyways, and so we had decided which ewe we wanted, and then we had told him, okay, well, we really like this one, and he's like, okay, so then I'm going to give you this ram because then it's going to keep the bloodline clean and, blah, blah, blah. Now, we were about a month away from being able to have them on our property. There's still so much that we had to do to prepare. Unfortunately, he ended up having a fire on his property. He lost everything, his barn, his home, a few of the sheep. It was really sad. So he had to quickly find homes for the animals that he did have left over. So we went from having a month time to prepare to having less than 24 hours. So we really had to get things done and set up. There was only one place in town that sold hay, and it wasn't very good hay. It was actually very disappointing. So we do have to do some more research and find out what the next closest place is, because that is something that we're going to want on our property. But we had to get everything done and prepared. We cleaned out the pen as much as possible. My father brought us some sunshades that he had, And so we put those up in the pen since the tree that's there wasn't blossomed or blooming, didn't have leaves or any of that yet. So there was absolutely no shade for them. And the weather has been fluctuating really bad. There's been some really hot days and some really cold days, and so we wanted to make sure that they had some shade for the really hot days. And then by late afternoon that same day, the sheep had finally arrived. As you can see, this is our ram. His name is Prince, and they all came pre-named, so he was not too thrilled to be being led into the pen. He did fight us quite a bit, but once he got in, he seemed fine. He started eating relatively quickly. And then Maybelle here was carried in, and she too, as soon as she got into the pen, she like immediately started eating. And as an added bonus, we also received her baby. This lamb is called Dot, and she is absolutely adorable. She gave Critter a fat lip right there. So all in all, it was a very exciting day. The sheep seem to be doing just fine. They're still extremely skittish, but they're coming around. Maybelle, I was able to pet Maybelle first, and then later I was able to finally pet Prince. And that's basically what's been going on here. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any advice for us on the sheep, be sure to let us know, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.